Good afternoon, students. Welcome in next lecture of Math F212 optimization. So, in last class, we have seen the classical optimization technique for solving the constraint and non-constraint, constraint and unconstrained problem. Now, next is the non-linear program. Advance of that. So here we will optimize the non-linear programming problem. So here we have the solution method for nonlinear program generally can be classified either the direct method or indirect method. Direct method means directly on the problem. We can apply the technique. In the indirect method, we have some auxiliary equation, right, before solving the problem. Audibility is okay? Hardik,
Yes, sir.
Chirag.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So example of the direct method are the in your course we have the gradient algorithm based on the derivative where maximum minimum of the problem found by following the fastest rate of increase or decrease. If it is the problem of maximization, we try we follow the path where we have the fastest rate of increasing, and if it is the minimization problem, then we follow the path of the fastest rate of decreasing. For example, as a river always follow the path where we have the fastest rate of the decreasing from high altitude to low altitude. So in the same fashion we proceed of the objective function. In the indirect method we change the original problem by the auxiliary problem, and from the auxiliary problem we try to determine the optimum solution. In your course we have the quadratic programming. From there we have the quadratic programming. Other than that we have the separable programming, stochastic programming also, but in your course we have the quadratic programming. So let us start with the first method, direct method. So here we have the unconstrained algorithm. This section presents the two algorithm for the unconstrained problem, the direct search method and the gradient method. So presently we will study only the unconstrained problem and unconstrained as well as the unimodal. Unimodal means it has only the one mode. Means it is not like this. It is not like this. Two model. We have the either the minimization or the maximization. So first let us start with the direct search method. So direct search method apply primarily to strictly unimodal single variable unconstrained problem. So in that what we will do, what is the direct search method? For example, this is the function, right, and this is the axis. So first we take the initial interval of uncertainty. Initial interval of uncertainty means in that interval we assume that the point of extremum exists, right? It is the interval of uncertainty, may exist may not exist, but we assume that the point of extremum exist in this interval, and iteration by iteration we reduce the size of the interval. Iteration by iteration we reduce the size of the interval, and at last we reach near the optimum point. But always we consider that in that interval we have the optimum point. So the idea of the direct search method is to identify interval of uncertainty. Interval, why we are taking the interval? We Because we are taking the bigger distance, right? Bigger interval. And why we are calling it uncertainty? In this, the optimum point. In this optimum point may exist or may not exist, but we assume that that must exist. That is known to include the optimum solution point. The procedure locates, because in starting we do not know that where we have the optimum point. So in general we take the as big as possible, so that we can assume probabilistically that, right, with some probability that the optimum point lie in that interval. The procedure locates the optimum by iteratively narrowing the interval of uncertainty to any desired level of accuracy. So means from the starting we try to narrow the interval of uncertainty, and later on we reach to the optimum point. So here we have the two methods, dichotomous method and the golden section method. In this we have the two methods to solve the unimodal single variable unconstrained problem, and here both algorithm seek the maximization of unimodal function fx over the interval a to b, which is known to include the optimum point x star. Two methods start with the initial interval a comma b representing the initial interval of uncertainty. So that what is the direct search method and dichotomous method and golden section method. So here what is the general step? Let I minus oneth step, interval length interval points are xl and xr. So if you have to determine the from here iteratively, if you have to determine the next iteration, right, if you have to determine the next interval or next iteration interval, so we have the formula for the left coordinate as a x1 is equal to 1 by 2 of xr plus xl minus delta, and x2 is equal to 1 by 2 xr plus xl plus delta. In golden section we have the formula of the x1 as a xr minus root 5 minus 1 upon 2 into xr minus xl, and here the x2 is xl plus root 5 minus 1 upon 2 xr minus xl. What is the x1 x2? I'm saying that let's say this is the graph. So initially let's say it is the xl, it is the xr, right? So after that we compute the next interval, narrow interval, than the previous one. So left point will be the x1, right point is the x2. So here x1 x2 lie between xl and xr using this formula, dichotomous by the dichotomous method and golden section method. Why we are calling it as a golden section method? Because this is nothing, this is the golden ratio, golden ratio, golden ratio. Every every beautiful and the means strengthful object follow the golden ratio. So this is known as the golden ratio. This is a very famous ratio. So every beautiful and the means strengthful object follow the golden ratio. So right, so here selection of the x1 x2 guarantee that we are following the interval of uncertainty where the optimum point lie in that interval. So in this case uh, means we have to narrow the interval. So now in the narrowing, when we have to narrow the interval, so now the question arises which interval we should consider. Here if we have the point xl, point x1, point xr, and no, point x2 and point xr, and graph is like this, graph is like this. So next interval can be this xl x1, next interval can be x1 x2, next interval can be x2 xr, next interval can be x1 xr. So we have the various combination. Next interval can be xl x2. So how we decide which interval we should consider in the next iteration? So for that we have the following conclusion: if fx1 greater than fx2, then next interval will be the xl2 x2. If the fx1 greater than fx2, then next interval will be the xl and x2, in which the x star probably lie. So here similarly means first you see, for example, if the fx1 greater than the fx2, right? If fx1 greater than fx2. So if you take this interval, there is no optimal point. If you take this interval, there is no optimal point. If you take this interval, right, this interval, in this figure it is the optimum point. By chance, if this x1 is on this side, so again you miss the optimal point. If you take the x1 x2 as a next iteration, so here also the fx1 is greater than the fx2, so you can miss the optimal point. So to narrow the interval of uncertainty where the optimum point lie, so in that case, always we have to take, right, always we have to take the interval uh, interval xl, right, interval xl to x2, interval xl to x2, so that never you will miss the optimum point. Similarly, if the fx1 less than fx2, if fx1 less than fx2, fx1 less than fx2, in that case we take the next iteration as a x1 xr, right? In that case we take the next interval as a x1 xr. Why we cannot take the x1 x2? Because if the x1 x2 is like this, if this is the x2, then what happen? Then again there is a chance to miss the optimum point, there is a chance to miss the optimum point. So to guarantee that the optimum point lie in this interval, right, so we have to take next interval as a x1 xr. And by chance, if both are same, fx1 is equal to fx2, at that time next interval you can take as a x1 x2. So if fx1 is equal to fx2, then next iteration will be the x1 comma x2, that is the next iteration. In this next iteration is the x1 xr, in this next iteration is the xl x2. Is there any problem to understand this, how we are narrowing, right? We are narrowing using the these two formula in the dichotomous and golden section method. Now we have the two intermediate points. So out of the two intermediate points, which we have to take in the next iteration, that is clear.
Yes, sir.
So let us now take one question. So okay, before that, one more thing, how that formula is coming. In the dichotomous method, the value of the x1 and x2 is symmetrically around the midpoint of the current interval of uncertainty. That in the dichotomous method, what the formula we are taking, x1 is equal to half of xl plus xr, that is the midpoint, plus delta. On the right hand side, x2 is what? Half of xl plus xr, that xr, that is the midpoint, minus delta, that is the on the left hand side. It means if this is the xl, if this is the xr, so half of the xl xr will give you, half of xl plus xr will give you the midpoint, plus delta, plus delta, and minus delta will give you the x1. 1 minute, this is the minus, this is the plus, right? So x1 and this point will become the x2, right? So in the dichotomous method, the value of the x1 x2 sits symmetrically around the midpoint of the current interval of the uncertainty. This means that I plus 1th interval is nothing, it is the half of the previous interval plus delta. Repeated application algorithm guarantees that length of the interval of the of uncertainty will approach to desired accuracy delta, where this delta is nothing, it is the accuracy way, how much means accuracy you want in your search. right? How much accuracy you want in your search. Here never, when we are saying na iterative method, so in the iterative method never you get the exact answer, always you get the approximate answer. And what the means, what is your limitation to handle the error, that we denote by the delta, right? How much error you can tolerate, what is your tolerance limit, so that we represent by the delta. Now in this, what we are seeing, here we have the means, here we have the initial interval xl and xr, xl and xr. From there we compute the x1 and x2. Depending over the value of the fx1 and fx2, we can have the next interval either the xl xr, xl x2, or x1 xr, or x1 x2. So in this case you can observe only one, only one we are using at a time. Means in the first we are discarding the x1, in the second we are discarding the x2. We have to calculate what we are discarding, right? And in this we are discarding the xl and xr both, xl and xr. So because we have computed these 2 points and we have to discard, so now question arises, can we use these point in the further steps? So we can use, because it will it will easy our computation. Otherwise for each step you have to compute the fx1 and fx2 each time, right? In otherwise you have to, if problem is very complex, right, if the problem is very complex, unnecessary you have to compute the fx1 and fx2 every time. So to avoid, to make our computational easy, or means it should take the less time, we have the little advanced method known as the golden section method. In the golden section method what we will do, in the golden section method the idea is more involved. We notice that each iteration of the dichotomous method requires calculating the two value fx1 and fx2, but ends by discarding one of them. What the golden section proposes is to save the computation by reusing the discarded value. In the golden section method whatever that we have discarded, that we reuse in the immediately succeeding iteration, in the immediately succeeding iteration. For example, if you are in the fourth iteration, so in the whatever you have discarded in the fourth iteration, that value you will use in the fifth iteration. So automatically discarded one will be used in the in the succeeded iteration. So in the next iteration you have to compute only 1 point instead of computing the two. For the 2 points you have to compute 1 point. So let us suppose we do not know what is the value of the alpha. Just we assume that alpha lie between 0 and 1. The intermediate point is the x1 is equal to xr minus alpha into xr minus xl, and x2 is equal to xl plus alpha xr minus, right? Here again we have the xl, here we have the xr, and here we compute the x1 always on the left hand side, x2 on the right hand side. So x1 is nothing, x1 is the xr minus this distance, xr minus this distance, and x2 is what, xl plus this distance, xl plus this distance. So in that case, now what is the main beauty of the golden section method? Whatever the point we are discarding, that point we use in the succeeding iteration. So here it is written, then the interval of uncertainty I at iteration I equal to either xlx2, either the xlx2 or x1 xr. X1, either we have the xlx2 or x1 xr. So in this case we have discarded the x1, and in this case we have discarded the x2. Consider the case xlx2. We are explaining, by considering the case xl x2, which means x1 is included. X1 is included in II iteration. Here the x1 is included in the next iteration or ith iteration. So in the iteration I plus 1, we select x2, we select x2 equal to x1 of iteration I. Means in the next step always this is the x2 and only we have to compute the x1. This point always be the x2 for the next iteration. Why we are saying presently the length of interval is this, presently the length of interval is this, right? In the next step we have narrow the step, right? We have taken this. Now in the next step, whatever the previous step x1, that will become the x2 of the succeeding step, and only the new point you will create as a x1. So again you will narrow the interval of uncertainty. So actually what we are saying, x2 of the I plus 1th iteration is nothing, that is the x1 of the ith iteration, because in the ith iteration we have discarded the x1. In the ith iteration we have discarded the x1, so that x1 will become the x2 for the succeeding step. So if you write the x1, what is the formula of the x1? Just now we have seen formula of the x1 is what? X1 is equal to xr minus alpha xr minus xl of the I minus 1th step. XR minus alpha XR minus XL. And what is the formula of the X2? X2 for the ith iteration, it is the XL plus alpha, right? It is the XL plus alpha XR minus, right? XR minus X alpha XL. And this XR in the ith one is nothing, it is the X2. It is the x2, right? So so this will become and x2 of the iteration I, x2 of the iteration I, and x2 of iteration I, x2 of iteration I can be written as xl plus alpha xr minus x alpha. X2 of I plus 1th can be written as this. So when we solve, it will give you this quadratic equation alpha square plus alpha minus 1, and its root will be minus 1 plus minus root 5 upon 2, since alpha lie between 0 and 1. So we take only the root. Alpha is equal to minus 1 plus root 5 upon 2, which is equivalent to 0.681. So that is the value of the alpha, that is the golden ratio, right? And using this we determine the value of the, we narrow the interval of uncertainty. So that's the theory of the direct search method, dichotomous golden section method. It is useful for determining the optimum value, right, in iteration, or it is the iterative method, right, for the uni model one variable problem, unconstrained problem. So design of the golden section method computation guarantees an alpha reduction in the successive interval. Means if you take the I interval of length I plus 1 step, and I, it is equal to alpha. So alpha, this alpha we have seen it is the 0.681, which is greater than the zero point 0.5. The dichotomous, in the dichotomous just we are halving, right? So it iteratively it converges faster than the dichotomous. Golden section method converges faster than the dichotomous, more rapidly than the dichotomous method. Clear this part? Anything you want to ask? Now find the maximum of each of the following function by the dichotomous search. Assume delta is equal to 0.05. So let us have this question: fx is equal to x cos x, and limit of the x is the 0 to pi. 0 to pi means this is the initial interval, 0 pi. This is initial interval is given to you. So first we see from the MATLAB graph what is the value of the, right, what is the shape of the x cos x. So between the 0 to pi, right, 0 to pi, here the graph of the x cos x is this. So at this point we have the maximum point that we have to determine. So first of all, it should be concave. For the maximum, it should be the concave, unimodal or single variable, right, single variable and unconstrained, right. So what is given to you? This is the table for computing the for computing the optimal value by the dichotomous method. So it is initial point is 0, initial point is the pi, that is the xl xr. Using the formula x1 is equal to 1 by 2 xl plus xr plus delta, means 0 plus pi plus 0.05, minus 0.05, minus 0.05 divided by 2 will give you 1.545795. And x2 is what? X2 is 1 by 2 xl plus xr plus delta, that will give you 1.595795. If you have the calculator, please calculate yourself. Online, please calculate yourself. Please verify.
Yes, sir. Sir, how are we supposed to do this in the exam?
Like this only.
So for every iteration, we need to calculate. Okay.
Yes, means xl plus xr minus delta. So for the first step, it is 0 plus 3.14 minus 0.05. And x2 is what? Half xl plus xr plus delta, that is the half 0 plus 3.14 plus 0.05. So you will get the 2 points. You will get the 2 points between the 0 and pi. Right? So that point is 1.545795, 1.595795. Now, at this point, what is the value of the f? So we compute the fx1, fx2. So here, if you observe, fx1 greater than the fx2, fx1 is greater than the fx2. Please pay attention on the word, right? Fx1 greater than the fx2. So if the fx1 greater than the fx2, next iteration is the xl x2. Next interval is xl x2. So next interval is the xl and this x2. Next interval is the xl x2. And the difference between xl and xr is equal to 3.14. Up to when we will repeat? Up to when this is less than 0.05. Right? We repeat this until unless it is lesser than the 0.05.
Sir, can you clarify? Are we solving question one or two, A or B?
We are solving x cos x.
Okay, fine, fine, sir.
This is star question. Clear? Now this will be the, for the next iteration, this will be the XLXR. Again, using the formula of the x1 x2, we compute the x1 x2, then we compute the fx1 fx2. So in this case, you will observe that fx2 is greater than the fx1. Fx2 is greater than the fx1. In that case, what will be the next interval? That is the x1 xr. That is the x1 xr. Clear? How I am iterating?
Yes, sir.
And we, yes, yes.
Uh, Sir, so we are supposed to calculate for every iteration this values.
Iteration by iteration, we are narrowing our interval, na? 0 to 3.14, now 0 to 1.59, now 0.7 to 1.59, now 0.7 to 1.2, 0.7 to 1.016, 0.7 to 0.919. So iteratively, we are decreasing the interval length. We are decreasing the interval length, and we repeat until unless this length lesser than the delta 0.05.
Fine, fine, sir.
So at last, because we haven't the space, so I have not shown you the complete table, but we have to repeat. And at last, the middle point of these two, we assume that is the optimum point. Actually, we are halving. So when we are halving, you can continue up to infinite time. So with some tolerance criteria, right, with some stopping criteria, we have to stop. That stopping criteria is the difference between this length must be lesser than the 0.05. So when we have that, the middle point, we assume that is the optimum point. So that may or may not be the exact point, but it is close to the exact point. Clear? So this is the dichotomous. The same table we have this. Just I have calculated. Means here some digits are not readable, so I have written there. Clear? Now, the same question if you solve by the golden section method. If you solve by the golden section method, so in the golden section method, this is the XL, this is the XR. What is the formula for the golden section method to compute the x1 x2? So for computing the x1 x2, we have this formula: x1 is equal to xr minus root 5 minus 1 upon 2 into xr minus xl, and x2 is equal to xl plus root 5 minus 1 upon 2 xr minus xl. So using this formula, we have computed the x1 and x2. x1 x2, for the x1 x2, we have computed here fx1 and fx2, and here you can observe that fx2 greater than the fx1. If fx2 is greater than the fx1, then the next point is the x1 xl x2, xl x2, right, xl x2. And here you can see the difference of the interval is 3.14, and here the difference is 0.05, which is less than 0.05, so we will stop here, and the middle point of this interval will be the optimum point. So here you can observe in the golden section method, we have to perform only first iteration, second iteration, third iteration, fourth iteration, fifth iteration, sixth iteration, seventh iteration, eighth iteration, ninth iteration, and in the 10th iteration, you have achieved your stopping criteria. But in the dichotomous method, even we have performed the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17. Presently we have the 17 iteration on the screen, but we are not able to achieve the stopping criteria. So golden section method is always better than the, right, better or it converts more faster than the dichotomous method. Clear this part? One more thing. One more thing. Here we have the x1, x2. We have said that fx2 greater than the fx1. Means here we have used the xl and here we have the x2. It means we have discarded the x1. That x1 will become the x2 in the next iteration. That is the beauty of the golden section method. That whatever the x1 you have discarded, that become the x2 or xr, right? X2 or xr, because x2 here it will come now. That become the x2 here, x2, right? Or in the next iteration it will be the xr. No, means it will be the x2. It will be whatever you have discarded, in this iteration, that will become here as a x2. Now in this case fx1 is what? Fx1 is greater than the fx2. So next interval will be the, if fx1 is this, so next interval is the xl and x2. This will be the xl and x2. अच्छा, मैंने यहाँ पे गलती की, यहाँ पे भी fx1 ग्रेटर है. This is the minus sign. Actually, I have missed this minus sign. So in this also we have the, right, we have the fx1 greater than the fx2. Is there any step? For example, this step. In this, the fx2 greater than the fx1. So when the fx2 greater than the fx1, at that time, what will be the interval? X1 xr. So x1 xr. So whatever the discarded point is the this x2. Whatever the discarded point, this x2, that will become the x1 of the next iteration. If you have discarded the x1, that will become the x2 of the next iteration. If you have discarded the x2, that will become the x1 of the next iteration. That is the golden section method. Clear? If you do yourself, then automatically it will be clear. What I want to convey, that is clear. Still any doubt?
Sir, it's clear.
Now, okay. If you solve next question as a fx is equal to 4x and 4 minus x in the interval 0 to 2, 2 to 4. So here we take the first interval as a 0 to 4. 0 to 4, and by the dichotomous method, by the dichotomous, right, by the dichotomous, we have this table. In the similar fashion we proceed, right, and here we proceed. This is again the this, but this is the golden section method. Golden section method. So just you compute the x1 x2, check the fx1 fx2, right, and accordingly you narrow your interval. So this is the table for the fifth part. So you can verify at your end, right? Definitely it requires the calculator. Without that you cannot do. So this is the shape of the that function. No, this is the shape of the x 5 pi minus x. Actually इसमें स्टार उसमें बना हुआ था. Correct. This that table is for this problem only. That table is for this problem only, right? For the problem E. Now, so presently we have covered the direct search method. In that we have studied the two methods, dichotomous and golden section method. Now, next is the gradient method. So, in this section develops the method of optimizing the function are twice continuously differentiable. So, first of all, whatever the function we want to optimize, that must be the twice differentiable, and its second derivative must be continuous in nature. The idea is to generate successive point in the direction of gradient of the function. So here what we will we follow the path where we have the fastest rate of increasing or fastest rate of decreasing. So means for each point we compute the gradient. The method is known as the steepest ascent method or steepest descent method. Steepest descent method. Generally, we prefer to apply the steepest ascent method for the maximization problem and steepest descent method for the minimization problem. We can apply both method. We can apply both method for both type of the problem. Only there is a difference of the -1. In the steepest ascent and in the steepest descent, we have the problem of -1, because in the ascent we increase the value of the f. In the descent we decrease the value of the f, so there we have the difference of the minus. So termination of the gradient method occurs the point where gradient vector become null. Means at the optimum, if you compute the gradient of the f, it must equal to 0. This is theoretically it must 0, but never we achieve the 0, right? Never we achieve the 0. So wherever it is near to 0, wherever it is near to 0, that we assume it is the optimum point. So this is only the necessary condition of the optimality condition. From the previous chapter, you have seen this is only the necessary condition for being a optimal. Optimality cannot be verified unless it is known prior to the fx is concave or convex. Only it give you the point of extremum, right? It will not give you whether it is the maximum point or whether it is the minimum point, right? Means if you do not know the shape of the function, if you do not know the shape of the function, you cannot say whether it is the optimum, whether it is the maximum point or it is the minimum point, because it give only the point. It gave only the point. It gave only the point. It gave only the point, right? So this point, whether it is due to the maxima or due to the minima, we do not know. Only we know that here we have the visual space. That visual space we are reducing step by step. So that is the steepest ascent or steepest descent method. So how we do? Suppose the fx is the maximization problem, x naught is the initial point. X naught is initial point. Let us say this is the shape, right, or contour, right? Uh, let's say this is the x naught point. So at the x naught point, we if we observe that maximum iteration is in this maximum iteration is in this direction, right? So we do that direction. In that place again we compute the gradient. So wherever we have the maximum slope, at that time we at that direction we move, and we try to determine the optimum point. So means step by step we are reducing our feasible space. So is maximized. Let x naught be the initial point from which the process start. Define the gradient, right? Gradient of fxk as the gradient of f at the point xk. The idea is to determine the particular path p along which del f by del p is maximum. We move in that path where the rate of change of the f with respect to path must be maximum. at a given point. This result is achieved if successive point xk and xk plus 1 are selected by this formula. Xk plus 1 means next successive iteration point xk plus 1 is equal to old iteration point plus rk into gradient of f at that point, where rk should be the optimal step. Rk should be the optimal means, for example, if I am saying that if I am saying that I am at this point and I have to move in this direction, I have to move in this direction. So where I should stop, what is the optimal step? Means I should stop at this point, I should stop at this point, I should stop at this point, I should stop at this point. Where I should stop, right? So that I can, at that point, I can make another closed curve, right? So that we compute through the step size, optimal step size. uh, Today we have the distribution of the recheck, right? If you have any group, please post on that. We have the recheck request distribution today. I have sent the mail, you know now. So if you have the group, please post on that reminder post, because it is for the 10 minutes only. The step size Rk is determined such that next point xk plus 1 leads to the largest improvement in the f. In that direction, we must have the largest improvement in the value of the f. Means largest increase in case of the maximization problem, largest decrease in case of the minimization problem. So this is equivalent to form the problem, right? HR in terms of the f at new point, f at the new point. Now this HR will become the single variable problem over the parameter r, and using the previous chapter theory, we determine the optimum value of the HR, and we continue until unless this RK gradient of the f is equivalent to 0. If it is equal to 0, we have the exact point. But in the iterative method, generally we assume that never we have the exact point. So we assume it should be the equivalent to 0. Equivalent to 0 means we are following the necessary condition of optimality. So it's better in next class we start the question. What are this? Actually, it is important one. It takes the time. So in next class we start the problem. We have the 1-2 minute only. So in next class we start. From the existing theory, is there any doubt?
Sir, for gradient descent, we will also need to check uh, whether derivative is possible at that point, that optimal point or
Means
not.
in the descent, here we have the minus.
Okay.
There we decrease.
No, sir, I was asking whether in this gradient descent method, we need to check whether the optimal point it is differentiable or not in the graph.
It should be the second order derivative. Second order derivative must be continuous.
Okay, because that question that you earlier shown us, part E, I suppose, in which
Hmm.
fx was defined as 4x for the range 0 to
In
2 and
that is
4
the
months.
numerical problem. In that is not necessary for the dichotomous, and for that it is not necessary. There we do
Right,
not require the derivative, na.
right,
In
right.
that
But
in
that
that it
problem
is,
can't be solved with gradient descent, right? I just want to
that you
confirm.
cannot solve. That you cannot solve here.
All right, all right. Thank you, sir.